just on the point, Don, of the size and the physicality. You know, I was at the City Arsenal game.
Yeah.
And okay, it was one-sided. It was on one of those games. But what was really striking, and I remember talking about it with Nadam as well, is that City had it certainly looked from, I was quite low. It looked like City were like literally giants.
Big.
So you had Rodri and Diaz and Stones, even Ederson, Haaland. Okay, Gundogan but even De Bruyne is not strong, but he's kind of tall. But you had all of those, and then Arsenal, on the other hand, didn't match up. If you had, so Havertz is tall, and, quite strong, but Rice is certainly like one of those. Already that Saliba coming back from injury, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just makes it makes you more formidable, doesn't it? You know, when you walk out in the pitch, and fans don't really get it, and they go, "Oh yeah, but you've got people like Messi, who's tiny, who's a genius." Yeah. Correct, Bernardo Silva. There's a place for technically diminutive, amazing players.
Yeah.
But I'll still stand by. You need to see us like Rodri's the best example.
Yeah.
You see Rodri, and when you watch him play, when you watch him play against opponents, he does look a giant.
Yeah.
And his positional sense and his tactical brain is amazing. That's what I think Declan Rice brings as well.
Yeah.
He brings that size, corners against, for wide free kicks, for and against. His technical ability, the way he plays, the way he covers the ground, how easy it takes him going from box to box. He is some talent, man.
You know, I think I've watched him closely because I've always thought he was world class. You know, I remember before at the start of the World Cup in Qatar, saying that him and Bellingham were potentially the best, like, double pivot in the World Cup. So better than the Kimmich Goretzka who flopped completely. Yeah. You know, maybe better than what the French had in, Tchouaméni, let's say, and so we had Tchouaméni and Griezmann, or Tchouaméni, and Tchouaméni and Rabiot, whatever we had at the time. They were there. So I've always been a big fan. I think West Ham struggles, and you followed them obviously a lot last season. Struggled in the sense that the results were not there, so you had to maybe dig a bit deeper.
Yeah.
The trouble they had in finding their identity. So do we play like we used to, quite old school kick and rush type, or with Paqueta and Benrahma and Bowen, a bit more fancy football? He had to step up. I have to be here when we play fancy football.
And you can't be everywhere.
Yeah, true. But he also had to, I play with Paqueta now.
Yeah.
I need to step up my game technically.
Yeah.
When we have to play old school West Ham and the Moyes, I still have to be there, winning the first ball, winning the second ball, all of that. And for me, his game has really evolved in a positive way by, I think being a more all-round player than he was even 18 months ago.
You have to be open, and you have to have the ability to play a different role depending on who's playing alongside you. So for the first 4 or 5 months of the season, David Moyes wanted to play Paqueta alongside Declan Rice, because
so no more Souček.
So Souček was out of form and he was carrying a knock and he couldn't get in the side. That didn't work for me, because I thought, when I watched Lucas Paqueta, he's better as a number 10. He's better higher up the pitch. That's where he wants to be. He can be more creative. So straight away, Declan Rice is thinking, well, I need to be a bit of a holder midfield player, because I need to allow Lucas Paqueta to go forward in a sort of skillful way. Then I think it got to a point where Souček regained a little bit of form and a bit of fitness, and David Moyes couldn't buy a result, couldn't get result, with drifting towards the bottom three, and he brought the physicality back again. So Declan Rice, number 6, the double pivot with Souček alongside him, big, strong, defending your defenders, if you like. So your back 4 or back 3 and your 2 holding midfield players. Paqueta then as a 10, and West Ham looked a lot better for it. So I think what Declan Rice has got again, he's got a really good football brain to say, well, when I can, I'm going to go forward. So all of a sudden, if he's playing in the Arsenal side, there might be a more defensive player alongside him. He can then go on and be a number 8 and score goals and get assists. And the game is always evolving and it's always changing. But when I played the game, there was always 2 number 8s. And you had to have a brain where if I was playing alongside you and I seen you run in the box, I would be a holding midfield player, right? Then I would go in the box and you use your brain. And so he'll have that, I think, at Arsenal. He'll choose his times when he goes forward a lot more.
So the idea, you would think, of Rice in that team. So you have the back 4 that we know, Ramsdale in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko. Then Rice, like certainly on paper as the 6, Odegaard, Havertz, because Havertz, this is the idea for Havertz to play there, and then Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus and Saka, right? With the ball, that moves to a 3 at the back, White tucking inside, Zinchenko as an inverted fullback in the middle with Rice, and then your front 5 obviously with Havertz and Odegaard quite high up with the front three.
Yeah.
For me, the Zinchenko, Declan Rice kind of pivot when Arsenal are on the ball is just fantastic.
It's amazing.
The two of them is amazing.
It's high-level football IQ, isn't it?
And the high line behind, and then because you've got Gabriel and Saliba space, and then it makes me really exciting.
It does, because what I love about that is you've got players that can play in interchangeable positions. So like you said, it might be Ben White staying a little bit wider because he's not as comfortable as Zinchenko. And then what will Declan Rice do if Zinchenko's got a lot of possession? Because Odegaard, another one with a really good football brain, can go a little bit left in that pocket, come a little bit deeper, might allow Declan Rice. So there's about 4 or 5 players where I'm trying to think, when I watch Man City, they seem to me like the worst team on the planet to try and play against as a midfield player. Yeah. That's what you want if you're Arsenal. You don't want to play up against an Arsenal and go, well, Granit Xhaka will sit there, or number 10ish, but Partey will definitely not move. I think we're Arsenal with Declan Rice and what you've just mentioned there. You've got a lot of players who are on the move. Nightmare to mark.
Yeah. I agree. I think
which is exciting for Arsenal fans.
Yeah. If you're an Arsenal fan, and I know we're saying like,
and also as well, if you get this statement signed, and if you're Arsenal and you get the Declan Rice over the line, it puts a marker down, I think, in the sand to everyone else. Where I'm a little bit before the Declan Rice signing, I'm a little bit, do they make top 4? I'm not sure.
I was going to come to that.
So I'm not sure, but I think with the Declan Rice signing, you put a marker in the sand and you go, we are definitely top 4.
Yeah.
And by the way, we are making a challenge to Man City.
Because I understand and we were discussing it off air before we started the show, Liverpool are going to be better. Chelsea should be better with Poch at some point. It might take him a bit of time, but they will be better. United should keep their improvement, their progression. Same with Newcastle.
Yeah.
City will always be City. But Arsenal will also be better. So I understand people saying that and then saying like, okay, where are Arsenal in all of this?
Yeah.
Arsenal will be a better team this season than they were, especially with Havertz, Rice, maybe Timber, whoever else they sign. And that's what happens in summer transfer windows. You try to strengthen your squad and make your team better, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will not question Rice's choice to go to Arsenal, but maybe think, why did he pick Arsenal ahead of City? Let's say that now City we know are out of the race, but there might be a point where he thought, you know what, I would rather go to City and work with Guardiola and play with De Bruyne and Haaland, then go to Arsenal.
You never know how someone's thinking.
True.
Well, you never know how he's thinking. I don't think he would, but I'm just using this as an example. He might be thinking when he sits there and he goes, if I go to Man City, I could be winning absolutely everything. Could be winning a treble. Could be winning Champions Leagues. I say this very loosely. There's no guarantee you get in a Man City team. He would, but it could be a Calvin Phillips.
I was going to say, exactly. I mean, he's better than Calvin Phillips.
100%.
That would have played maybe on his mind.
Exactly. So even though it would have come to the forefront of his mind, being the character that he is, and we always back ourselves as player, he'd have got that out the front of his mind and chucked it in the bin. Yeah. But with the Arsenal one, he might be thinking, I could be the top man there. Not in an arrogant way, not big-headed, but he might be thinking, well, if I sign for Arsenal with all these great players that we've mentioned, and we do get to a title or we do win a trophy, that might mean a lot. It might mean a lot more than just going to City and being another number and that's just winning another trophy. I'm not diminishing what Pep's done because I'm a Pep fan. So from the player's point of view, he might be thinking it was more attractive to have this project to try and get Arsenal all the way back to a title for the first time in a lot of years.
As Don Hutchison, the player I'm talking to, would stay in your own house, which I suspect would be the case with Rice now. Going to Arsenal will not change anything of his current life. He will stay in the same house, live in the same place. Does that play a part? Is it a small part? Is it a big part?
I think it's a difficult one because I think it plays a part.
Right.
It depends on your family. I'm not sure what Declan Rice has got. A girlfriend, family, don't know. So if he's got a family that, say Harry Kane's a great example. Got kids, got a wife, they're in school, everyone's settled. He might be thinking, well, I want to stay in London. If I do move, I might want to stay at Spurs because of that. Depends on how you see it. But it really depends on how you see it.
It could also be like...
It could be a small factor. Yeah. Put it this way. It's not a game changer. You're not going to say, well, I live in the same house just to play for Arsenal, and I'm going to forfeit 10 trophies by going to Man City. True. Doesn't really play a massive part.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.